Good morning and welcome to day number 15 of our second annual WSOP Daily Spaces coverage. I'm Sherry Pluskota, aka Peaches, and Brian Software is with us this morning as a co host, and our angel from the UK. And I see Zach down there in the goose, so good morning to Zach too. And anyone that's going to listen to us on a replay, good day. Hello, everybody.
Good
Hi.
morning. And it's Software Brian.
What did I say?
Yeah, we can tell you've got shit. You sound like
yeah,
shit.
every day you have some different name for me. Software Brian.
Oh, what did I say?
You said Brian Software yesterday. I think you said Software Brian Pinkus. Then I think the other day was just Software. I don't know.
Well, we're trying to mix it up a little bit so we're not so boring, Brian.
Sherry, you've got to get it right. You've got to get it right. And I'm going to do an investigation, Sherry, to figure out what's really going on here, Sherry. I'm just kidding.
Well, it's so funny you said that, Brian.
Yes.
Brian, I'm wondering what the hell's going on in these spaces the last 48 hours. If anybody wants to come up and give us some bullet points, because I'm traveling right now, but I've gotten some DMs and it's not looking pretty.
I don't know. I made the mistake of turning it on for the first time in many months, and I don't know. I just can't do it. I want people to more love and less hate. Like people are very
100%.
angry, and I just want to love everybody. That's it.
Amen, brother. Just a little reminder to everyone, please note we're always trying to provide the most current and accurate information available. We make no guarantees to such, so please do your own research and gathering of information as it applies to you, your plans, and your goals. We would hate for there be some misunderstanding that costs somebody getting to a tournament in time or whatever. So please double check what we are saying. We're going through stuff quickly, may miss, we may have may misspoke, and and lo and behold, you end up getting to a tournament late. So definitely double check what we're doing here. We would appreciate that. And of course, many thanks to Elevator Results. If you need a tailor-made workout plan to help you lose weight or gain weight, Elevator Results can design that plan. Follow them on Twitter and check out their site at elevatorresultspt.com. Brian, what did you end up doing yesterday? Turn on that microphone.
Bottom left-hand corner, Brian. You know the drill by now.
He's such a rookie. Come on, mate. Turn on your microphone.
I don't know why I turned it off. I did a lot of nothing yesterday. I went to play the deep stack. I'm going to say something kind of negative, but I think that when the World Series deserves it, that we should kind of speak the truth.
Well, and truth is in reporting too. So I'm all about, positive or negative. We need to talk about it so people are aware of what's going on.
And I think it's important too in this context because, the World Series has their daily deep stacks. The $200 price point is a good price point. And so I like to just go play that. Like I'm not worried about losing a couple $100. Going and playing one of the bigger series and stepping into an 800 on a day where you don't feel like you're there to like play your best is probably not the wisest thing. So I said, and time wise, just the start time is good. I actually was late to the to the 1 o'clock. I think that should be at 2 o'clock. It used to be at 2 o'clock deep stack, and I would sometimes show up late at 3 o'clock, and that time frame worked better. I know why they moved it up is because it runs later, so late at night, and they want to get it over with. It was getting over with at like 5 in the morning or something. So I understand that. The problem is that I'd rather them shorten it up a little bit, actually, Sherry. But anyway, that's besides the point. So this year they've moved those. They used to be in the tournament room at the Paris, where you had cash games and that, and then a major tournament.
And now they're up at the Normandy room up on the second
Yeah,
floor.
and here's the thing: they're doing some construction next door. So the guy told me, he says, "Feel this wall," and I'm like touching this wall, and it's like hot. The room, to me, I don't know. It was way too hot. I don't know how hot it is. I'm a wuss when it comes to being in heat, and I certainly don't want to be hot when I'm playing poker. So, like,
I hate being hot when I'm playing poker. Nothing will make me more upset than to walk into a poker room and it's hot. I will turn around and
see,
walk
now you guys
right
all know.
out.
All you have to do is mention being hot while playing poker, and Sherry instant tilt, right? Like, but anyway, yeah. So and then I actually walked up to the floor guy at the break. I'm like, it feels like I'm playing poker in LA here. And he's like, that's not a compliment. I'm like, I know. There's a reason I don't play poker in LA. We were just laughing about it, but they've really taken what was a good thing and made it a not so good thing. I hope that next year they do something different. Now, here's the craziest thing, Sherry.
Okay, wait a minute. So let me make sure I'm hearing you correctly. Software
Oh my
Pinkus
gosh,
Brian
Sherry.
is saying that he's complaining about A, it being too hot in the poker room, and B, that there's been a time change, even though he's going to be late for
Donna,
his own funeral. Am I
can you
hearing all this
get her
correctly?
some like signage with my name on it? Software Pinkus Brian. It was miserable. And
Okay, so those are your complaints that they changed the time and
no,
it was
the
hot.
time secondary, but
Okay.
really, and then I sit down on this guy. He's like, so the dealer's shuffling. There's 10 seconds left, and she sees there's 10 seconds left, and then she says, "Oh, it's break." And I'm like, "No, it's not freaking break. You're shuffling. Deal the hand." And then the table gets all pissed at me. They want to go on break. The guy's like, "Well, maybe you
Right.
should show up on time." So I look at his stack, Sherry, like during when I came back from break, and he had less chips than I did. so, so, so I am instantly needling this guy. Like I am like, perhaps it paid off for me to be late. And then I won a pot, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, it definitely paid off. I don't know why my alarm or whatever's going on over here.
It's not the fire alarm, right?
I have no idea. It started playing Yeezy back. I don't know why. It decided that I wanted to hear that right now. So anyway, you haven't even heard the craziest part of this, Sherry. Okay.
I'm
So
listening.
I get a flush draw, and I'm like, okay, this is a rebuy. Let's just see if I can hit it. The guy has a boat, and I go to rebuy, and I'm walking to the rebuy, and I'm like, do I really want to do this? No. So I walk over to the tournament room, and the gladiator's still going. They've got 100 people left in this tournament. The only tournament they're running in that room is that. They've got, what, 10?
In the big ballroom?
Yeah, 10, 12 tables.
Wow.
And they've got all these people jammed into these little tiny rooms upstairs. So they will not get any more of my money for daily tournaments there. I could see myself maybe, but doubtful, playing one of the milestones. I mean,
Now you're making me really upset because I love to
I
play the
love that.
dailies, especially in the evening if I've not played anything early on and I just want to play a little something something. I love playing the nightlies, so now
Yeah,
that
and
makes me
the
very
really dumb
upset.
thing is the Gladiator. They could have easily even moved that into the main room where the TV stuff is. There was plenty of things.
Right.
I now as I say all this, I do hedge. So like I don't want to be on day 2 where it was like last year or in years past where they have the daily deep stack and the please collect time and all this stuff freaking going off while you're trying to focus and play for real money. So there is a reality to I love the fact that coming down the stretch you don't have that nonsense going on. And
Well, let
yeah,
me ask you this, Brian. Do you think the room, the Normandy room upstairs, is so hot because the construction next door is open to the elements, so the
a
heat is just
thousand
coming in because they're doing
percent. Yeah,
construction?
the guy told me, he said on the other side of this wall is like outside. He's like, yeah,
Oh, well, hell no. That is upsetting to me because like I said, I like playing those dailies. So that's
it
going to be,
it was like one of my kind of,
oh,
I don't know, secrets. Like when I'm not playing well in the World Series, I go play that because it's a quarter of the price, at least, you know?
exactly.
So that's what I would go do, but I'm not going to be doing that. And really like again, I want to give support to the people that are supporting the community, and that would be, Poker Boss over there at MGM, and Aria, and
Ryan Beauregard, don't
all
forget
the
the
MGM
win.
properties, and and so yeah, I won't be doing any more of the deep stacks this year. Maybe
Well, that's unfortunate. And, we can't blame the WSOP that there's construction there. The construction has to go on, but maybe they need to bring in some extra, like floor model air conditioners or something to get more air circulating in the room so it
yeah,
stays a
that's the
little
other
cooler.
gross
But
thing. You got all these people jammed in there. Clearly, the ventilation isn't.
yeah, yep, yep.
I don't know.
Well, that's unfortunate because I don't feel like wearing my bathing suit to go play it nightly. And, people would be scarred for life if I did. So that's a little unfortunate.
Yeah, so it's crazy. So for me today, I'm gonna head back. I'm gonna um, go home for a day. I come back tomorrow night, and
Okay.
then Thursday I'm playing
Okay.
the deep stack, and then monster stack this weekend. Once I win the deep stack, then
Hell yeah, let's
I'll be in
go.
that. So I'm gonna do some editing. Hopefully get this last vlog done while I'm home, and then go from there. So
Awesome. Well, my son Ed and I are on the way to Seattle. Well, we're
yep,
here. Um, and we stopped at a casino that was beautiful last night, and it was in the Cascades, and it's just gorgeous. We had dinner at this lovely restaurant, and it had a panoramic view of the sunset over the mountains, and it was really a fun time. We got our butts kicked at the casino, but we still managed to have fun. So today we're going to go to the White Sox Seattle Mariners game. So I'll be able to check off seeing this stadium, and we should have some fun. Yeah.
yeah, we do. Sherry, what I've discovered over the last few years is spring training baseball is so much fun. It's like so kick back, and it was cool. The first game I went to, Dodgers and White Sox, and I'm kind of a Dodger fan. Um,
I'm sorry.
but well, after some of the nonsense they did last year, I used to wear a Dodger jersey for every tournament, and so I decided I wasn't going to do that anymore because of their nonsense. But anyway,
I hear
so
you.
I'm sitting there. First off, any seat is a great seat. at those. They're a lot
Right.
cheaper, and I'm sitting like right behind the White Sox dugout. And oh no, I'm sorry, it was the Cubs. And so I'm sitting behind the Cubs dugout, and there's this Cubs, this family that's Cubs fans, and the little boy was like just so funny. He was like pepping up all the guys, you can do it, and all game long, and they're giving him like batting gloves and all this stuff, and at the end of the game, he's like, hey coach, can I get the lineup card or something, or blah blah blah, and the coach just like kind of walked off, kind of rude, like I was like, wow, what a jerk,
Right.
and like a couple minutes go by, and the security guard goes, hey kid, come down here, and he hands him the lineup card, like bats, batting gloves, all kinds of stuff. I was like, that is
That's amazing.
awesome.
I had the opportunity to go. I don't know if you've ever been to the Walt Disney
Yeah.
World Sports
Yeah.
Complex, but they have the Atlanta Braves. They have their spring training there, and I got to go to Atlanta Braves spring training game probably, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago. You're right. It's such a great experience. Spring
It's a
training is so fun.
lot of fun, and and it's kind of cool because you got the guys that have the uniforms and they got their names on the back. Those are the guys like on the team, and then you got these other guys. They like flew in for the day and no name, and you're just
That's
like
right.
pulling for this guy. You don't know who he is, and you're like, man, how much
Because
pressure?
he's getting a
Yeah, how
shot.
much pressure? Like, okay, I get to play with the big guys. I love those stories
It's awesome.
when the guy makes it to the big leagues, and his parents are there, and man.
It's awesome. Well, I'm going to pivot for a minute and talk about some fun facts about some of our Hall of Fame inductees. So in 2015, Jennifer Harmon was inducted. In 2000, some things you may or may not know. In 2004, Jen took a year off from poker to have her second kidney transplant. Since then, she has founded the Creating Organ Donation Awareness, and that is a great charity that promotes organ donation and the process, and it's really a great foundation, and Jen's been doing really well after that second
Well,
surgery.
she's amazing.
Also,
She is
go
amazing.
ahead. She is amazing. In 2050, John Juanda also was inducted. In 2001 and 2002, John was Card Player Magazine Tournament Player of the Year, winning 4 WSOP titles and a World Poker Open Championship title. So he had a great year that year, huh?
Oh yeah.
So that is our fun facts about inductees. And we had quite a little discussion last night. I want to give a little shout out. I see Donna Blevins is in the audience. If you'd like to come speak with us, please request in the bottom left. Same thing, Brad, Sammy, Zach, ASG. Please request in the bottom left if you want to come chat with us. We had a little bit of a chat about in Todd Rizzo's space last night about the Hall of Fame. And I'm just going to say, I love the passion that people have for their favorites. And it was basically people saying, John Sanudo or Matt Savage, which one should be inducted. And quite honestly, I love the passion, and you can nominate both of them people. You can nominate whoever you want, and just nominate anybody you see fit, right? Just because I started pushing for John and Matt, and the other folks in this space have done the same because we believe in them, doesn't mean you have to. We just want to bring awareness to the process so you can also voice your opinion by making your own submission of nominations. And yeah, are we spearheading in the spaces, so to speak? for John and Matt to be inducted? Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any comments on that, Frank?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair question, right? Like, um, and essentially, for those of you that weren't listening, it's kind of came down to who would you choose? Like, would you choose Matt Savage or would you choose Miami John? And I for one don't want to make that choice. I think that you know, Miami John, I think both deserve to be in for sure. And I think that you know, Miami John has some medical issues going on, and I think it's absurd that, you know, we wait while the guy, you know, I want him to be able to enjoy it with his family. So I want him in. I also want Savage in. It's absurd that Savage isn't in. And the more that you look into it, the reality is that the World Series has a problem. And that problem is that Caesars and the World Series owns the Hall of Fame. So it's really not the Poker Hall of Fame. It's really the World Series of Poker Hall of Fame. And the more that they deny Savage's entry into it, the more that becomes, you know, shines to light. You got to realize, and a lot of people don't even realize, Matt Savage was the tournament director for the World Series of Poker through Moneymaker into 2004. So all the way through Moneymaker and Raymer. So now he goes off and he does the World Poker Tour, starts a completely new thing, and then follow that up by what you and I both see as probably his crowning achievement, starting the TDA. I mean, a lot of people who came along after the TDA don't realize how important that is, because if you went into any card room across the world, they had their own rules. They just kind of like did what they wanted to do, and there was no official kind of thing. So you never really knew what rules you're playing over. Now, even today,
Well, and I want to interrupt you for a minute, Brian. You know, I travel all over, and I've probably have played just in the United States, probably 30 different card rooms, if not 40. And for me to be able to just walk in and the basic rules are all the same, you could never do that years ago. Because, like Brian said, when you walked in, you didn't know what the house rules. That's
right,
house rules, right? And now we have the TDA rules. And believe me, I would never probably have done what I do now back then, just because it would just be a drag trying to figure out their rules.
right,
Go
exactly.
ahead.
Yeah, and so now you have this standardized, you know, set of rules, and yeah, there's some variations to that, but the core kind of it is the same. And you know, not everybody is going to implement things exactly the same, you know, and there's going to be mistakes and things like that, but like there's a foundation there that we all stand on, which didn't exist without Matt. So I mean, if you look back and you say, oh my gosh, this guy was the head of the World Series of Poker all the way through, you know, Moneymaker and Raymer. He saw through, not to take anything away from,
The early
yeah, not to take
2000s.
anything away from Jack. I mean, I love Jack. Jack deserves to be in there. I was asking that question yesterday. Is Jack even in there? I don't think
He is not, and he is very
he's
deserving as well. I mean, we can list many industry people as well as many players that are
and
deserving, and which also, you know, bodes to the argument that isn't it time that we induct more than one person a
it
year?
definitely it
And I
definitely
keep going back to that.
is.
Let's induct one industry person and one player every
It
year.
definitely is. And here's the thing. I would bet that the reason that Jack isn't in the Hall of Fame is because that would be like so admitting of the problem of Caesars owning the World Series of Poker. Because
Well, and people would definitely point in that direction, and it's sad that they wouldn't just look at his
It sucks
accomplishments.
because Jack does deserve to
Yeah,
be in there too, not for
absolutely.
Savage, because Savage has gone off and he saw the World Series of Poker. He took over for who? Jack McKellen. I
McClung,
can't remember his last. Yeah, something to that effect. Um,
right?
and then
Who's also inducted already into the Hall of Fame. He was inducted in
and
2014.
deservedly so. But
Right.
but now you got Matt, and the guy. His big sin is going and helping start the WPT and the TDA. So he deserves.
Well, let me tell you, that's a sin. I want him to be to commit more sins. Now, let's bring some more folks into this conversation. Hey, Donna, welcome.
Well, hello.
How are you? And tell us what you're doing in Vegas. I know you're in Vegas, and what are you playing, and how's it going?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm packing because I'm leaving at 10:30 Pacific time to fly a red eye home because I decided I was going to take just squeeze at least the last amount of time that I could. So I've taken the time. And one of the things I did, and I'm physically fit to do the walking, but the time involved, I rented a scooter, and I'm telling you what, it was the smartest thing I could do.
Awesome.
Yeah, because the World Series is in Paris and in horseshoe ballrooms.
Yeah,
and
it's very spread out for those that don't know.
Yeah, and if you are in a really big tournament, like one of the Mystery Bounties was, Mystery Million, there were like 4,000 players on each leg. Actually, the last leg was nearly 8. And I did not know about it. Was important to get the ticket early because it would be nice to get a ticket in Paris for the first flight. Well, I was in Horseshoe, and I was moved. The table was moved 4 times until this one line of tables was broken, and then we were little ducklings, and we walked, or we followed step by step people back over to Horseshoe.
Yeah.
And then you got a ticket and went and found, your table in this sea of tables, and then you had to figure out how to play against these players.
Right.
So if anybody's
going to the WSOP.
Yeah, and you can actually buy your tickets online now, and I would suggest people doing that. And if you get here early, there's kiosks all around the hallways where you can buy your ticket as well. Now there's a fee if you don't pay cash for it, but it's still worth it.
And you have to have Brian, you've got a terrible echo. Do you have our space on 2 different devices in your room, bud?
No, I don't.
Okay, maybe just mute then. It's a terrible echo. It's so weird. Donna, I will tell you that, and those that are listening, you have to make a minimum of a $2,500 deposit to be able to pre-register online, so to speak, through the apps, and then you would pick up your tickets through the kiosk. So you don't actually pay at the kiosk for your ticket. It's not like an ATM, so to speak.
I think maybe there is another way, Sherry, that Donna might be referring to. There's like this online path, and you can use a credit card potentially.
But it's still online, and you just go to the kiosk for the last step.
The kiosk,
am I wrong about that? Yeah,
the kiosk, you don't ever buy in at the kiosk. You're already registered and paid for at that point. But I did want to mention about the scooters, Donna. If you're coming for seniors weekend, make sure you get there early, because the scooter parking, it really fills up there in the hallways at the World Series. So make sure that I'm just kidding.
And they probably run out of them. But I just want to make sure that we're clear that the kiosks are just for printing prepaid tickets. I just want to be clear about that, so that there is no confusion. As like, it's not like an ATM. You go and pay, or a vending machine, you pay as you go. It's not like that at all. It definitely is a prepaid. You're just putting a ticket there.
They say that I'm going to actually applaud the company that I rented this from, because I said, I'm sure you're going to run out of scooters. He said, I never rent out of scooters. And
Okay.
well, actually, I had done research, and they were like, $350 a week or something. Anyway, I saw this online, and I vetted the company because I went $99 a week. That's crazy. And so I went ahead. It's called Las Vegas Scooters. I will give him a shout out right now because they delivered it, exactly when I wanted it delivered. And I told them I wanted them to pick it up at 5 o'clock today. And that's just $2.99. I mean, Jesus Christ, you can spend that on a little bit of food in Las Vegas.
Listen, ASG, if you have a moment, if you could look up the Las Vegas Scooter Company and put a link in our chat, that would be amazing, dude. Thank you if you can. If not, no problem. Donna, do you have any opinion about Hall of Fame nominate? Who would you recommend get nominated for Hall of Fame this year? Any recommendations?
Well, I mean, you hit it straight on the head. As a matter of fact, I mean, I have been touting Matt for years, trying to get him in the Hall of Fame, and it's like, come on, people, and Jack as well, and because they absolutely deserve it. I mean, Matt, if anybody, I mean, it's just fabulous, and people should go ahead and make the voice heard. Send information. This is why I would like to see this guy in. The more people that ring that bell, the more probable they are to select. The thing of it is that as I remember any of the Hall of Fames, the selection process is actually done by a committee and the people that are in the Hall of Fame. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, it's like the Academy Awards. It's like sometimes that's like, seriously. They ought to extend. They ought to extend a hand. But let me, before I hop off and go get my shower and go see how much of these gentlemen I can gladly accept some donations from at the poker table.
That's right.
I mean, they see me come in, right? I'm 6'5", and I've got white hair, and I'm 75, and I'm not walking around like an amulet, even though I come in a scooter. I get up and they go, shit. And I said, okay. And, they're oftentimes treating me like an old lady, and I love that. And I just wait, and they, will ask me things about my height, and I'll joke about that. And then every time they build the pot for me and I drag it, they're going, how did you do that? And I said, just thank you for building my pot. Anyway, the one that I love the most, and it's tough to have you have to have a big bankroll for it. And I don't have a big bankroll for it, but I went ahead and put in some of the cash as Big O when you have the 5 cards in your hand and it's Omaha High-Low. And talking about an amazing game, and you won't see it on the app, Bravo app, because you won't see how many tables they are, because they have this live area in the far corner of one of the ballrooms at the Horseshoe.
Well, I'm glad you're getting a chance to play it for sure. And I'm not sure what's happening with Spaces today, but it's acting a little crazy. So if you're having to go in or out or come to speaker, non-speaker, and it's glitching, I'm sorry. I guess Twitter is having some issues this
Sherry,
morning.
can you imagine Donna coming up to the table like with some crocheting? She's like crocheting her thing, and then she's just like a complete maniac.
Well, now that you stereotyped old women with crocheting, let's. But anyway, I would imagine I'm not quite as old as Donna, but she's right. We get stereotyped all the time, and it definitely works in our favor for sure. Brad, I'm trying to get you up here, bud. I think there's some technical issues. Hopefully you can get up here and give us your opinion on the Hall of Fame induction stuff that we were talking about. And Fats, I thought I approved you already. And let's try to get Fats up here as well. Donna, Donna Morton, are you still with us?
No, it says she's. Oh, there she is.
Donna Morton, you still there? I'm just going to tell you, we're having technical issues
Yeah.
this morning. So, Donna, if you're trying to talk to us, we cannot hear you. You might have to go back out and come back in, love. Fats, good morning.
Good morning. The scooter place, when I see that ad when you post it up in the Jumbotron, I'll let you know that sounds like the place that I use when I go out to Vegas because I don't take my own with me. I just rent one when I'm there, and sounded like
Right.
the same place, and they're pretty good.
Well, I'm glad you had that recommendation because when you rent it from the casino, it's like $60 or $70, maybe even $100. I don't remember the last time I checked for somebody, but it was ridiculous. It was such a ridiculous amount of money, especially if you need it for more than a couple of days. So I'm glad that Donna provided that information. Again, it's called Las Vegas Scooters, and Donna was telling us it was $99 for a week rental, which is
Now that's probably
amazing.
for just a regular scooter. There's some that are more heavy duty because it depends how big you are, what kind of scooter you want. Because some of those scooters are
Sure.
real small, and if you lean a little bit too much, they'll just tilt right over.
Right. And, everybody knows their own personal needs. So when they look on their website or give that place a call, they can figure out what they need and what they have that they can
Yep.
provide for you. I'm trying to add both of the Donnas, and let's see if we can get them back up here.
Another
Donna Morton,
You know,
yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
at 6'5", I'm 230. My good, and I'm fit. And this scooter will take off and go, man. I mean, it's a 3-wheeler, but it's not a 4-wheeler. But I've seen people that are 100 pounds more than me on one of these. So they're sturdy, and they said go ahead and charge it every night. So they've got good batteries, and it comes with a basket in the front, and they've actually designed a lock because scooters have a universal common key, and they did this padlock so you could put it on a certain way. So if somebody tries to steal it, all it's going to do is, and they turn it on, it's going to go backwards in circles. So
It's funny you said that because a friend of mine, Raquel, actually she was renting a scooter from a casino, and they went somewhere to like another property, and somebody did steal the scooter.
yeah, one of the things,
They did.
if you're going to rent a scooter, I suggest you bring a bike lock with you, like you would have a bike. Yeah, it works out really, really well. And interestingly enough, on the site, I was able to, the Las Vegas scooter site, I looked around and found a number, and I called that number, and this guy answered on a phone. He was on speaker, and I asked him who he was, and he's the co-owner. And I said, "Is this your mobile phone?" He said, "Yes." I
Yeah,
said,
that's definitely
I'm
the
really
same
talking.
place. That's definitely the same
guy's name
place
is
I
Eric.
use.
Yeah, I'll say Eric, and that's all I remember about his name. But you got to support him. I actually did a Google review last night because there's, especially in Las Vegas, and when somebody comes here, if you're coming for the World Series and you're going to be here a week, have some cases of Fiji shipped into you. Or if you use muscle milk like I do, I had 2 cases of muscle milk shipped in. And
Right.
because I have to admit, it's been about 12 or 13 years since I've been here. And before, it was so wonderful because anybody could go to a buffet for $35, and now they're start at 100. And when
times have changed. That's for sure. Times have definitely changed in Vegas, unfortunately, for some of the things. But I'm so glad you're there, and you're going home today. But first, you're going to go take some chippies off the men, and I love that. Are there any memorable moments you want to tell us about?
I guess the most memorable moment was when I have been considering reopening Poker Mindset Academy. I was scootering around the first day when I got this, and I was over in the Paris hallway, which is where they have the big cashier buy-ins. And I just scooted past this guy, and he said, "Interested in Poker Mindset?" He wouldn't talk to me, and I turned around on the heels, and I said, "What?" I said, "You said Poker Mindset?" And I guess I coined the word being a poker mindset coach 15 years ago. And it was Elliot Rowe's company. And he's developed Primed Mind, an app where you listen to little mini meditative hypnosis mantras, I guess. And it was really wonderful to hear that. And I was talking again to someone else, and I said something about considering opening Poker Mindset Academy, reopening it, and there were several people who turned around. It was like I became a queen bee or something because they're going, Poker Mindset, Poker Mindset, Poker Mindset.
Well, I, for one, encourage that you get back on that horse because your delivery of such information is awesome and you have great results being a mindset coach and provide a plethora of awesome information and tactics. And I want to encourage you to get back on that horse, my friend.
Well, thank you, because it's interesting. When I got a call from one of my acquaintances. I really haven't had much contact with them for quite a few years. And they said, "Please, I need help. I need help right now." And I said, "Well, get on the phone and let's do something." And it was astonishing because the session was 7 minutes, and I trying to figure out what was like chewing at them. It was like their whole life was in crisis. I knew it didn't have anything to do with the poker because they were doing great. And then they had 2 sour days. And I'm going, "What's this?" And I'm asking her to drop down to her heart and, what's going on. And it was like 30 seconds before she said anything. And she said, "I am a bad person." And I'm like, God. And, if that's chewing at you, anything, our life at the poker table, our life in relationships, it all has to do with our self-talk, how we talk to ourselves, the words we say set ourselves up for success or failure. Our subconscious hears everything that we say, and it records it and it sees it as fact, even though it's bullshit and it's not real. But we create it as our own reality by using our self-talk to sabotage ourselves.
All right, Donna. I'm gonna just, because I know you don't hang out in the spaces very often, and I'm always excited when you come into ours because I know that you don't. But what would you say? And I don't want anybody to take offense to
Right.
this, but I think you have the expertise to maybe give some wise words. Um, what would you say to a person that sits in a space and is being verbally attacked by other people in that space, the host or maybe a panel member, and they can't seem to get themselves out of that space and stay away? What would you say would be a way to get over that hump to be able to separate from that toxic environment?
Are you talking about to the person that's doing it, or the people that are in the space?
The people that are taking the abuse or in there listening to the abuse.
If you're in a space like this where you are taking abuse, yeah, I'm sorry, I just leave. I mean, unless you're the host, and are you speaking from the host standpoint?
No, I really don't want to dive too much into it, but I am very concerned over several people that are staying in a space that they're being abused in. And so what kind of word, like, what can we say to encourage those people to have them look within themselves to see why that need to stay there is there, maybe? Like, what would you recommend maybe be a process to help that person?
Well, I guess it when you want to know an answer, you ask a very simple why question and you let it go. You don't try to consciously answer it because, it's like the first thing that's coming to mind is, why do I allow myself to take abuse? It's almost like a person who's in a physically abusive relationship. They stay there. And if the person asks, why do I need this? Or why am I here? If they just ask that and then be quiet, go someplace else. It needs to be in your quiet time. And you just sit there and see what comes to mind, because it's a deep-seated instance that's causing it. It's funny how you see women and men are in abusive relationships as well, but you see women who are in abusive relationships and they stay there. I mean, gosh, in the 70s, I worked diligently to try to get the streetwalkers off the streets and away from their terrible pimps, because they had no place else to go. They had gotten off of a bus in Oakland and they had run away from home, and then they were cared for by these beautiful gentlemen who ended up turning them out later. And it's like it's because they were loved there. And I think if you ask that question, why do I need this? What is it about? Why? Just ask the why question and then be quiet and listen and get a journal. If you start writing down thoughts, things will tend to surface. We can have that conversation with ourselves by allowing those words to surface and then record them. That's really important, is recording them, because we have to have a relationship with our self-talk. And oftentimes we'll have a thought. If we don't chronicle it, it doesn't have to be a sophisticated chronicle, just jotting something down. We start having that conversation. And that's the only thing I can come up with, because I can't imagine. I'm sure it's true. People allow themselves to be, bullied, which is, to me, is, if they're there, then they need that. Maybe they don't get attention any other way. Maybe that's a problem, because people don't pay attention to them, but they pay attention to them if they're being bullied. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Does that help at all?
Well, and I think the broadness of your statements is awesome, and I hope that the words are ringing home to some that are here listening now, or may listen to this on replay, because I think it's important that we look at ourselves and, like you say, evaluate why you're allowing this to happen to yourself, because you deserve better. Nobody should be able to yell at you, scream at you, call you names, no matter if you're in a space or person to person, like face to face with somebody. And if you allow it, you have to look at yourself and ask why you're allowing it. And I appreciate your honesty and willingness to address that impromptu. I know I put you on the spot, but I know that you're capable, because you're a professional, of being able to answer that question. So, Fats, we're going to let that topic lie. So if you want to make comments, you can make comments on anything other than that, because I just want those words to be out there for anybody that needs it. We're not going to dissect it. We're not going to go into it. So go ahead, Fats.
All right. Well, I wanted to make a couple comments about that, but if you don't want me to.
Yeah, I honestly don't want to open a can of worms, because my questions to Donna were to help people, not to dissect what the hell's going on, because honestly, I'm not involved with it and I don't want to be involved with it, but I know there are some people that are struggling with it, and I'm hoping they can find some solace in what Donna, who is a professional, has said. So I'm going to just leave it at that, and I appreciate you, Fats, and your willingness to understand where I'm coming from. So we're going to pivot this back to the Hall of Fame because I know Brad has desperately been trying to get up here and there's been technology issues. So, Brad, tell us your opinion or comments on Hall of Fame stuff.
What's up, y'all? Good morning. Good morning. Appreciate you for having me.
Good morning, Brad. Congratulations. I have to say that first. You're in. Let's go.
Let's go. We're in the
Whoop,
main,
whoop.
baby. But real quick, before I have my Hall of Fame shout out stuff, or Hall of Fame conversation, there is somebody in the chat that I really expertly need to give this shout out to. You have met him, Sherry. He also will be going to the WSOP main event because he won a PLO last night on Club GG.
Let's go,
Derek
Derek.
Veth will be going to the main event. I can't wait to see him. Love that dude.
Let's go, Derek. I saw you there. I didn't know you won. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
last night.
Hopefully, I'm going to see you in Vegas.
Yeah, super excited for him. So big shout out to him. I'm hoping. I don't know what flights we haven't all talked to each other as far as like what flights we're gonna play. There's a handful of us that have qualified and super excited. We're gonna all coordinate and meet up and but yeah, I'm just over the moon. I can't. I'm still kind of like just doesn't feel real, um but yeah, I mean, I kind of have this mentality, like you really just got to be on to the next, even when, you get knocked out of a tournament, you just have to kind of be just like on to the next. And, you know, fortunately, unfortunately, it's the same thing when you win something. Well, now I got to go play this live tournament and I need to make something of this opportunity. So that's not, it's all either way, it's in the past and you find, you know, put the next task onto the table and go tackle that, and but yeah, I'm really really excited. I've never played a 10K. um I have played in the WSOP summer stuff but never that big. So yeah, it'd be fun. I'm really excited.
Fantastic. And of course, hopefully, our paths will cross. Did you want to add anything to the Hall of Fame discussion?
Yeah. It wasn't really more to add. I mean, there's just Kevin, tournament director of the Gardens. He actually was hosting a Twitch channel for our Club WPT Championship, and he's a TDA or he's a TD, and he'll be at the TDA. And we talked about like some rules, and we talked about the Hall of Fame and that stuff. We had like almost the same exact conversation last night. And I think you guys touched on like almost everything we touched on. I think I do think that they need to go back to inducting more people. Just inducting one person seems kind of silly, especially as poker has grown so much. I think whether they go 1-1, I think honestly, I'd even go as far as saying that they should induct two players and one industry person. There's only 60 people in the Hall of Fame. I mean, we can't really, I think they're worried about like maybe watering it down there's 60 people in there. So I mean,
Well, and I think that you made a great point that, part of it is, hey, we don't want to water it down, but the bigger point is what you also made. The poker world has grown so
right,
much.
right.
We have hundreds of thousands of people, if not, well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, just coming to play the WSOP, but we have millions of people, of course,
Right.
playing poker, but you know, the field has grown so much, and 60 inductees is not reflective of how big
I
we've become as a community.
100% agree. I don't think it's like like a fair comparison, but I was really curious and I looked it up. Both baseball and NFL have 375 people in the Hall of Fame, and a fraction of the people that are playing professional NFL or baseball that are eligible for a Hall of Fame. There's way more people that are playing poker. Now, are they actually eligible? Maybe not because they haven't sustained and hit all the bullet points. But in my opinion, maybe I'm biased, but you guys know how I feel about Matt. I think it's just absurd that Matt's not in the Hall of Fame. And There's a handful of names I would put on that same list. I do think Brian touched on a good point too earlier, and I touched on this last night too. It's a Caesar's owned process, and it's owned by the WSOP. It's owned by Caesars, so as long as there's that, I don't know that we're gonna get 100% of what we're looking for. Maybe not. Maybe they continue to make adjustments, but I think in the past, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but they used to have a media vote, which they no longer do that anymore.
They did.
Yeah, and basically, yeah, it's basically just a board of people who are already in the Hall of Fame that are still alive, and they get together and
So the other thing that I would love to, the other leg of the voting process, I think I would like to see done, excuse me, is a fan favorite and just a voting process, and maybe it's only carries 20% of the weight of the voting process. But why not let the fans vote? Once the nominations are locked in, then let the fans vote, and only let that voting process count for like weighted 20% or whatever. I just think that's a great way to get the fans involved, and I think it would add another part of fun to that whole process. And the other thing I would say is, and we've talked about this in spaces before. I would love it if the Hall of Fame became an independently, like
Independently covered.
a foundation, like a charitable foundation, standalone foundation, and it not be involved with any particular casino or representatives or whatever in the poker industry. And I think if it did, that umbrella would open up to a process that I think everybody would be in favor
Brad,
of. So anyway, go ahead.
Brad, I think that I think kind of you were saying a little bit was, but I think it should be one player, one industry, and then the third should be, kind of like the wild card. So it could be industry, but
maybe that's a good idea too. One and one and a wild card. Yeah, I like that.
Obviously, most of the time they're going to go with a player, but
a player. Yeah, I think Sherry, you drilled a lot of good points there. Personally, I do think that they definitely, whether it's 1 and 1, 2 and 1, I think just allowing one in is certainly silly. But I think you made a lot of really good points personally.
Thank you. Go ahead, Donna.
I wanted to just piggyback on something Brad said about people coming and playing and winning and jumping into something else, or losing and jumping into something else. I just would like to plant this seed that when you are, first of all, trying to win, stop trying. Just allow your authentic game to come to you. Just be in that place of, just enjoying where you are. And if we try too hard, we push it away. If we're trying, well, all we're doing is leaking our bankroll. And one of the most important things to do, especially, after a particular session, you really have to take the time and do, I call it an after action review. What did I do well? And what might I have done differently? Stop beating up on yourself. And how did I screw up that silly hand? Leave that out of it. And what can I do next time? It can be done in 10 minutes, but it's really important to do that. And when you have a win, you really need to savor that. You need to anchor that in your subconscious. You need to remember it. What were you wearing? What was the temperature? What did it look around? What were you feeling? What were the colors around you? The more you replay that to yourself and really anchor it, the more often you're going to win. And people go, well, that's silly. It's just all luck. No, it's not. Luck comes into play. They say about 30% of the time, but who knows? There's some people who are the unlucky people. And when they do, they seem to do really silly things. I've oftentimes said I either have a smart game or I have an idiot game, and I really prefer to leave my idiot game at home. And and going through this process of looking about how you played, I think that's really important, especially in a huge event, because we don't want to miss anything. But if you, without actually finding out how we can increase our win rate and we can enjoy ourselves more, and it's important to allow that authentic game to come to surface. I just wanted to share that because Brad mentioned that people were going from this to this to this, and you're missing so many opportunities of doing that of the time with yourself before you go to another game.
Yeah. So
Well, thank you
so
for
I
wise words. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I do agree. So what I was to elaborate on that thought a little more. For starters, I absolutely agree. Self-reflection is so critical after every session. Um, you got to be able to understand some days you just got hit with the deck and you probably didn't play very well that day. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. And some days you could play really well and lose. And if you don't have that self-reflection, you're not going to know the difference. And that's where you're talking about learning from that session, no matter what. And I think that's absolutely critical, whether you win or you lose. But what I was more saying is that, like, the next tournament that you play knows nothing of the last tournament that you played, whether you won it or lost it. And you can't let the result of that previous tournament, whether it's a win or a loss, impact you, like, emotionally to where it negatively impacts you on your next tournament because you're so down in your blues, or because you're so high on your high horse because you did good. You have to reflect on it, absolutely, but I didn't mean it in the sense just like bypass what happened in that regard, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. And I just wanted to reinforce that. And when I have a bad session, and you know, sometimes I have to step away from it. I mean, I haven't been to the felt in so long, and I haven't played as much as other people might have in 2 weeks, because this has been my respite. It's been my vacation. And to be able to have someone, my husband, to be sure he takes his pills and all that. And I just, hired a certified nursing assistant to be there 24/7, take care of him and the dogs. And that gives me the time to be away. And I think the thing about it is that women oftentimes aren't able to haven't been involved in poker as much because, let's face it, there's double income families, who can live on one income, and women have, women have children, and it's oftentimes over the years I've noticed that women seem to not have the discretionary income that men have because women make less money than men. So if you have a spouse or a girlfriend or someone who really is encouraged to play, encourage her to play, because it is a place to expand your confidence. It's a place to work through. It's a place to work through issues that you have in your life, because it's a fact that poker mirrors life, and it's a place of pure therapy if you allow it to be that. So rather than be a therapy talk as to your relationship to poker, I just want to say it is an amazing game. It can bring out the best in you. It can bring out the monster too. But as someone mentioned, I may be passive, but then someone's saying an F word and somebody's going, "Oh, wait a minute, there's the lady there," and I just don't say anything. And then when the bombs hit about 6 or 7 or 18 times, and somebody keeps defending for me, I'll look up and I'll say, I ain't no effing lady. I'm a poker player, so deal the cards and shut up. And it's important to know that you can really gain your confidence and have fun, and camaraderie is good. Find people that that like the game and talk about it. So I'm going to hop off, Sherry. I want to tell you and Brad and Brian, it's wonderful being here. I'm going to have to come in here more often. I finally got a phone that'll work, I think. So,
well, we appreciate you and thank you for your wise words this morning, and safe travels home, and much love to you, my friend.
I love you, darling. And I want to know everyone out there you hear, I want to tell you that you are perfect just the way you are. You have to really embrace that in yourself. And I'm giving you all a virtual big girl hug right now. So take care. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.
Bye, Donna.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Donna.
you.
Thanks, Donna.
You bet. Take care.
I'm going to go through the winners or the tournaments of yesterday so we can just cover that really quickly. Software. I forgot to take and write down about the Goliath. Are you at a place where you can pull up the Goliath?
Yeah. I'm going to follow along with you, and I'll jump in whenever you need.
Okay, well, the Goliath is first. So if you want to.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, while
I'm
you
just
look
teasing.
it up, I'll go to event number 25 while you look up that one. Event number 25 was the 3K no limit six handed. 662K in prize pool money, 248 entered the tournament or entries. Daniel Valpan came in first for 148,000. Robert Wells came in second for 99K.
Excellent. The Gladiators, 14 players remaining in that, and they come back for day 3 at I think 11. I don't have that in front of me. Price pool in that $5 million. Cherry 20,647 entries.
Wow.
And now they're down to the final with Simon Britton leading the way with 67 million chips. Stefan Winners in second with 64, almost 65 million. Rami Hammond in third with 65 million. And
that's a
at the
lot
top,
of
I don't
chips.
see any kind of like known friends or anything like that I know of. But yeah, 14 left, getting down to the end here. And as far as the prize pool, these guys have 20 grand, almost 21,000 locked up, and 401,000 for first place. So going to be
Nice.
a very profitable day for these folks.
That's awesome. Moving on to event number 26 is the 25K high roller. Yingu Lee has 5.6 million in chips. In second place, as far as chip stack sizes is concerned, is David Stam. He has 4.9 million. In fourth place is Deeb with 3.5 million, and a notable in eighth place is Schumann with 2.8 million. There's a prize pool of 7 million, 318 entries, and there are 19.
What a table!
Left.
Yesterday I was over there. Sean Deeb, Phil Ivey, Negranu, Dan Smith, and Chance Corneth, and the old guy at that table. He must have gotten knocked out. I was looking for his name. And I think Dario San Martino was at the table too, just like Murderers Row. But yeah, crazy. You know what's funny? They were all slow playing the bubble. They were taking as much time as they can.
Of course. Look, there's 1.6 million at the top of the heap for the winners, so well, I would be flipping slow playing
and
too.
A min cash is only worth 50K, so
I know, right? All right, let's move on to event number 27, the 1500 Big O. 2 million in prize pool, 1,555 entries, 20 are left. The chip leader is Tomoki Matsuda. He has 4.7 million. John Bunch has 4 million. And in 10th place, our friend Sammy Farhar has 1.4 million. There's 306K at the top for the winner. Min cash at 234th place is $3,002. So I'm sorry I didn't look up how much they're guaranteed. Do you know?
Yeah, I can get that for you. Give me 2 seconds.
Sure.
Prize pool up top is 306,000, and there's how many left? You said 20 left.
20.
They 20. Have 12,000, almost 13,000 locked up so far. So, and I think This is the one I didn't find him, but Kessler cashed yesterday in one tournament and bagged in another. So I don't know which. I thought he said Big O, but I could be wrong about that.
Well, it's Big O, and then in a minute we're going to talk about Deuce to 7 Triple Draw. So I would think it would be those two, don't
Yeah,
you
I
think?
think so.
Yeah. So event number 28 is the $1,500 freeze out, $3 million in the prize pool, 2,319 entries. There are 215 left. Our chip leader is Brian Barker with 951K. Connor Hannon has 950K. A notable is Kathy Liebert has 70 in 71st place in chip stack sizes with 305K, and Nadia Magnus is in 79th place with 288K. First place prize is 412K. Minimum is $3,004 for 348th
And what about
place.
Ebony Kenny? She's still in there, right?
Yes, she is.
So there we go.
And as a matter of fact, give me a second to look up something, because there was a list. Give me 1 minute to pull this up if I can get my phone to cooperate and my fingers all at the same time. I wanted to.
Go ahead.
Yeah, please go ahead while I look.
Okay, so the 10K Deuce to 7 Triple Draw 6-handed championship, 125 players. $7,000. Marco Johnson in second with 227. Bryce Yaki in third with 213. Calvin Anderson in fourth with 210,000. Jason Mercier in fifth place with 206,000. Going back through the field, amongst the top in chip counts, Benny Glazer, Jason Klein, Sheena Ream, Jeremy Osmus, and Chad Evsledge. Also, with 123,000 in 21st place, our friend Alan Kessler. So that's the one that he's coming back to day 2 on that. So the prize pool on that they haven't posted yet. So we'll be looking for that later.
Well, let's see. Event number 29, the top winner is going to get 294,000.
Oh, okay.
Min Cash is at 9th place with 20K. It's a $1.6 million cash prize pool. 125 entries. 65 are left.
Excellent.
All right, I'm gonna. Shannon Shore tweeted that he bagged as the chip leader for the final table of 7 at the BetMGM Poker $3,500 main event at the Aria. So good luck to Shannon Shore. Give me 1 minute. Over at the Venetian, and I'm going to spell his name because I certainly don't know how it's pronounced. It's Shai. He's from Israel. He took 3rd place in the $800 no limit ultimate bounty event number 28 at the Venetian. There were 100,000 guarantee. He took 3rd place for $16,456. On a whole different note, I saw Mike Santeria.
Yeah.
Santeria, excuse me. Mike Santeria. I'll get it eventually, folks. He tweeted yesterday, I believe it was, the World Series of every fighter is broken. Are all the escalators broken, or have they fixed that, Brian?
The one to the basement is open. It was shut down. I know that, but Sherry, should I share the secret with everyone here, or keep it to myself?
Tell me what the whisper it in my ear, and then I'll tell you if
I
you
felt
should tell
really
everyone.
silly,
Go ahead.
Sherry. There's main elevator bank, is right there as you walk out. So when you're taking the escalator, you got to go like out and around the corner. Um, and instead of just like taking the elevator straight down and kind of a little bit more the direction that you want to go anyway. So don't tell that secret to your
Yes.
friends. I don't want to be waiting in line for the elevator with the rest of you clowns.
And the elevators can sometimes be tricky if you're staying at the
But
Horseshoe. Just to, make sure you
listen.
a lot of extra time just for the elevator, because if you're on a top floor,
Oh
a lot of times the
yeah,
elevator doesn't get up there because it's going to the lower floors and down, up,
yeah,
down, up,
it's
down, up.
crazy.
And so leave some
And
extra
and
time.
I'm not going to
I'm
tell
going to
you where
welcome.
my secret restrooms are. You're going to have to figure those out on your own.
Well, I know where mine are, and that's all that matters. But Isaac, I see you joined us. So how are you this morning?
Sherry, I'm going to need to jump off while we're waiting for Isaac. Can I do the Venetian and the Win, and then I'm going to need to go catch my flight. Is that okay?
All right, listen, Linda. I am actually not going to read any tournament schedule today just because I need to jump off myself. So you jump off and get ready for your flight, and I hope it's a great flight, and I will talk to you soon,
Okay,
bud.
sounds great. Thanks.
You're
Bye-bye.
welcome.
Safe travels, Brian.
Thank you, my friends.
We all have stuff
Take
we
care,
need to do
Brian. Have a
today,
good
and
one.
we're going to cut it short. Isaac, click that microphone.
I've just got
Forever
home.
hold your peace. Donna, what did you
I said
say?
I've just got home.
Oh, good. All right, maybe Isaac's having issues. Brad, would you like to have any closing remarks or bring up anything else before we get off this space?
No, I like as always, like I say, you guys do a great job. I appreciate you guys doing this. Try to come in when I can, and appreciate you having me up here. As always, you're amazing, and uh, hopefully, I find myself on one of these highlight reels in the middle of July.
Oh, I forgot to tell Brian. Maybe he's still listening. But first, Brad, thank you so much for the kind words. You know, I love hanging out with you, and we've been doing it in the spaces for a long time now, so to speak, because we all know one day in spaces is like 5 days on or 5 years on Earth. So I appreciate you and your kind words. But I forgot to tell Brian. I don't know if he's still listening. But Brian, I made it to a highlight reel. You guys check out Ebony or ACR's highlight reel about Ebony Kennedy and the Content House this summer. You may see a little cameo of yours truly. And, you know, it never gets old. It's always a kick when you're on a highlight reel for sure. Real Fats, any last remarks or like to bring up anything? Appreciate you, Fats.
Nah, it's I got nothing really.
Well, I know you're tired. Last couple days in the spaces, I'm sure has been exhausting, but I appreciate you and I hope you have a good day, Fats.
Yeah, no, actually not exhausting. It's I'm actually I'm being disrespected. Other people are getting trolled and not just me. I'm used to exclusive trolling, and
Oh,
they're
Jesus,
start
facts.
it's starting to
Oh,
spread
my
around, and
goodness.
it's not right.
Well, you know what, Fats? I think you've only started paying attention because that shit's been going on for months. Because I've been a
It really
victim of it
has.
But
Sorry to interrupt,
for a
but it
long
really has.
time. So
it got to a new level yesterday because now I got blocked. So now I'm blocked. I can't even be trolled if I'm blocked.
I'm just going to leave that where it is. Isaac, how are you, pal? You have anything you'd like to add before we close for the day?
Nothing. Just that. Yeah. Later on, if the bullshit's going on and continuing as it has, yeah. Any one of y'all, open the goddamn space. You know what I'm saying? Like
Well, if I
real
wasn't,
business. Because like I'm kind of done with all that shit. I like spaces to be somewhat about fucking poker. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that we got to be here giving each other hand histories or whatever the fuck, right? But like, it should not be all of that shit. That shit was way out yesterday, and I get
Well,
it.
Yeah,
I get the shtick of it
I'm
all,
just
but
gonna
it's
say
way out.
I'm just gonna say to you, Isaac, if I wasn't traveling right now, I would open a space per your request later today. But I'm going to the White Sox Mariners game,
Ooh,
but
you
later
better
during
have
the
some
week.
fun. The hell with all of this shit. You go have some fun.
Exactly. Life is too fun right now to worry about everything that really doesn't matter. And folks, just remember, some of the folks in here we're growing close to, and hopefully will develop into lifelong friendships. And some of these folks will remain acquaintances or faceless people that will never be in your life. But you have to keep it all in perspective and know that we are all just people on the internet. And just know that we're not all friends and it's okay. But we should be cordial and nice to each other no matter what our relationships are. So that's my soapbox for the
hey,
day.
Sherry.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yes.
One last thing I want to address that as far as people that sit there and constantly get abused, that's not so much the problem. The problem is the other people that are sitting there listening to it. They should just be walking out of the space, and then there'll be nobody else there to listen to it. The guy won't even have to, won't be have nothing to keep going on about. People have to stop
Well,
sitting
and
there and fueling the fire of the space by sitting in there and listening to it and giving it its credibility.
well, Fats, I don't, those that have been with me in the spaces since day one, and not only me, there's others in this room, will know that I did just that. And, people are, still till today will say something about it. I try to help. And by getting out of a toxic space and not feeding into it and not sitting there, I am not, and this is not intended to you, I am not like others because I see the toxicity. I'm not going to support it by adding a number to the click of the space. And that is everybody's personal choice. And, people love the dumpster fire. Come on, they do. When you pass an accident, everybody rubbernecks it to see the accident. And so, there's a lot of that going on, but you can't complain. It's happening if you are there supporting
True.
it. And that's where I'm at with that. And I hope if you're playing today, you're successful on the felt. So good luck and have a great day, everybody. I appreciate all of you. And those that are listening on replay, I appreciate you as well. Much
And enjoy
love.
your baseball
Have
game
fun
today.
today, Sherry.
Hell yeah. Enjoy
Thank
that baseball
you.
game.
Thank you, guys. I'm looking forward to it so
I'm
much.
going to look for
Being
you
with
on
my
TV
son
when I
and
watch
everything.
it. I'll put
Yes,
it
and my
on.
love to
Well,
Wanker.
all right. I will say hello. Hey, Wanker, you got something to say? What up, Wanker?
Hey, Wanker.
Uh, you can look for us behind the third base dugout, which is the White Sox dugout. We're going to be about the second or third row up. So you shall see us probably on
All right.
TV,
If I
but I'm
see
happy
a
to
good shot of
connect.
that, I'll try and get a screenshot off the TV, see if we can find it.
Okay, that's a deal, bud. And you guys have a great day. Much love and peace.
Peace, peace.
Bye.